Indonesia. This is Swami Ankit, here with your latest, juiciest news. Before the details, let me take a selfie. Hashtag no filter, hashtag breaking news, hashtag anchor swag, hashtag no makeup, hashtag Shivane's my best friend. Apologies folks, here with the details. Word on the street is that Maluku had just declared self-independence. Now let's go to Jay Chang's with the details.
This is Jay Chang. I'm here on an empty field which is soon to be filled with Indonesian troops. Oh look, it's a soldier. Excuse me sir, do you have a moment?
Yeah, but make it quick. Ain't nobody got time for anything these days.
So, what exactly is going on right now?
Well, they're sending to Maluku to fight a separatist war they is. The Malukans are up to no good, declaring themselves independent, stuff like that.
So, how do you think this will affect us?
Well, us and the Malukans have never been the best of friends, but things are only going to get more complicated. Well, gotta run. See you later.
Okay, thank you so much sir. And now Swams, back to you.
Thanks Jay Chang. Indonesia and Maluku, an interesting matchup. An interesting matchup indeed. Now folks, who do you think will win, Maluku or Indonesia? Tweet me, Instagram me at swams_. That's all folks for now. Signing off. Now folks, I give you the most exclusive coverage of the most popular event in Indonesia history. That's right. It's the official Declaration of Independence. Let's go live and watch our leader, Sukarno, give his address.
Here on the 17th day of August, 1945, we the people of Indonesia hereby declare independence. Matters which concern the transfer of power and other things will be executed by careful means and in the shortest possible time.
President Sukarno, how does it feel to be declaring independence for your beloved country, and are you aware of the violence that is certain to follow?
It is very liberating to be able to declare independence on behalf of people of Indonesia. I'm aware that this day will mark the beginning of a war against the people of Netherlands, but I'm prepared to do whatever it takes for the freedom of my country and my people.
So rumors from deep inside have let slip that you wanted 27 signatures on the proclamation, but had to settle for only 6 by the end. So why is that?
Well, we originally wanted 27 signatures to represent the diversity of the various people that support Indonesian independence, but settled for 6 at the end. But don't let the amount of signatures confuse you. We have the support of most of the citizenry and top officials in the government, but most importantly of all, you've got me, Sukarno, president of a new Indonesia, a better Indonesia, but most importantly, a free Indonesia.
And I'm Mohammed Hatta, Vice President.
Well, that's everybody important. Back to you, Swami.
Interesting. I hope the Declaration of Independence doesn't turn out a declaration of war. And hopefully things will be better. That's a wrap for me. Swami Ankit, signing out. The year is 1967. Wow, I heard there's some intense action on the streets of Jakarta today. Let me make a call. Hello, reporter? Would you care to elaborate?
The results of a rather dramatic and action-filled week. The replacement of President Sukarno with the former Major General Suharto. Thankful for the opportunity to speak with you, Mr. Suharto. Please have a seat. So what exactly transpired on the early hours of October 1st?
Well, October 1st was quite a traumatic experience for Indonesians, but even more frightening for our leaders. At around 3 a.m., 6 high-ranking army officials were assassinated. This terrifying blow was then followed by a large revolution that took over parts of another large city called Jakarta. It was then that I knew what I had to do. I had to stop the 30 September movement from breaking through. I seized power in the midst of chaos and prevented the 30 September movement from taking power. However, the 30 September movement, along with assistance from sympathetic troops, had already taken over parts of Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia.
Mr. Suharto, Some of our sources even suggest that the Indonesian Communist Party is responsible for this coup. What are your feelings on this bold accusation?
Yes, I agree.
Is that all?
Yes, I wholly concur that is indeed what is transpired. If you would disagree, don't disagree.
Very interesting. Back to you, Vic.
In the years after the coup, millions of suspected communists were persecuted. Anyone who remotely sympathized with the communists were severely persecuted in the forced labor camp. This is really significant because the Indonesian government committed crimes against humanity, such as persecuting large number of people without reasonable cause. Many were forced into lives of prisoners, who hopefully be receiving news later on today. Stay tuned for more. 23 years ago on this date, November 12, 1991, Indonesia troops armed with US M16s fired on a crowd. Several thousand unarmed East Timor civilians gathered in the Santa Cruz cemetery in the capital of East Timor called Dili. More than 250 Timorese were killed. The scale of this massacre was unprecedented, but the killing was not. Since Indonesia illegally invaded East Timor 22 years ago, at least 200,000 people have been killed. Here in Indonesian news, we pray for the thousands of lives lost during the horrific genocide. They were all valued as heroes to your country. Let's take this moment of silence for all those lives that have been lost. I'm Swami, and this is Indonesian news. Ladies and gentlemen, I, Swami, has the latest and hottest news right after this break.
Swami, we don't have a commercial.
No commercial? Oh, okay. Well then, I guess no commercials. Anyhow, President Wahid has just left Indonesia for the United States as of today, July 25th, after being impeached. What could have been brought to such an event? Let's go to Jacinta for the scoop.
Thank you, Swans. Good morning, Indonesia. I'm Jacinta Chang, and I'm here with a special guest from the MPR, the People's Consultative Assembly of the Republic of Indonesia. Come on in. Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today.
No, it's my pleasure.
So, it's somewhat surprising to me that President Wahid has been replaced by Megawati, and so suddenly. Could you inform me on how this quick escalation of events occurred?
Well, these sort of things are what happens behind the scenes when the public is unaware of politics.
Oh, well then, no problem, I understand, but I know that there's been some unrest since 2000 with President Wahid. Could you explain about that?
Oh yeah, 151 members did sign a petition for the impeachment of, did I say that?
Oh, then no worry, of course not, don't worry about it.
Well, see, the members of the political elite weren't too happy, especially since Wahid brought up dissolving the DPR if Indonesia were to fall to anarchy.
Oh goodness, he said that behind closed doors?
During a meeting, yeah. And Wahid used to move around his cabinet to suit his own personal regimen. It wasn't until July 23rd that the MPR truly met to vote to impeach him.
So of course the MPR meant to impeach him because of this, right? Since he was doing things for his own personal regime. But because of this, did everyone want Megawati instead?
The vote was unanimous.
Wow. What a victory on the part of the MPR, but a tragedy from the perspective of Wahid. You almost pity the man. Well, that's all here. Back to you, Ankit.
Images taken by paparazzi of President Wahid himself in the United States. Well, he sure did a great job trying to hide himself, but sadly not as spreads a tour around. Well, that's all now, folks. Follow me on Twitter at @swams_ and Instagram. Signing out. Back to Indonesia Times. Here's the high tide for today. Our top story tonight is about a deadly tsunami which occurred December 26, 2004, with an epicenter of Sumatra. Now that's something we didn't see coming. Shall we go to Jacinta, who's on shore with the devastation? Sorry to break you there, Jacinta, but we have an eyewitness news from Sally, who sells seashells on the seashore.
Hi, I'm Sally, and I sell seashells by the seashore. Unfortunately, I think recently, due to friction in plates under the ocean, there was an earthquake, and that earthquake triggered a huge wave which hit Indonesia. And because of this, many people are scared, and rescue teams are coming to try to help people and save the lives of the innocent people living by the ocean. All of these waves must have had huge amounts of energy, and hopefully these people will be escorted into safety.
Swams. After the break. Oh no, yeah. Yes. Justin. October 2nd, 2005. Several people were blown up in a tragic suicide bombing. Let's go to our guest with more information about this news.
So we're currently in the midst of investigating the suicide bombing.
Police suspect this series of devastating tragedies to be the work of radical Islamic group Jamaah Islamiyah.
The numbers are equally as devastating. 2 different locations were bombed, the Jimbaran Beach Resort and Kuta Square. At least 25 people were killed and another 101 were injured. Let's have a moment of silence for those lost in these horrific disasters.
So these bombings, Shivane, they resemble various other suicide bombings that occurred recently in the past 5 years. In October 2002, a similar bomb killed 202 people. In August 2003, 12 people were killed by suicide bombs.
Now that you mention it, it seems like the early 2000s were punctuated with various suicide bombings. It seems that all these bombings were all conducted by the Jamaah Islamiyah group.
These bombings also have several long-term effects on Indonesia.
Well, yeah, in addition to escalating political tensions, these suicide bombings also severely cripple Indonesia's tourism economy. Regions near Kuta Square in Bali and near the Jimbaran Beach Resort also experienced a drastic decrease in their microeconomy. People no longer wish to visit these popular tourist destinations, so businesses that once thrived are struggling to survive.
Well, that was quite devastating news. Our greatest condolences for the families who lost their loved ones. And here at Indonesian News, we pray for those who died.
Shivane and Ankit. We'll get more news after the break. I'm getting word that a special guest is going to be here. Let's take this news outside. In the rap community, he's more known as
Hey, Swami, what is
the
up?
main
What is
member
up,
of the
my man?
Alves.
Alright. Drop a beat, Swami.
The date was December 2002. The Indonesian economy was down. What to do, we had no clue. A lack of proper infrastructure set us behind, and a proper solution we had yet to find. Searching for something that would save us from doom, the answer was in dirt, liquid gold, the oil boom. So Indonesia began exporting oil. Indonesia oil boom! Getting rich from something that was under the soil. Banks doubled assets, banks tripled assets until things once again started to look grim. Quite again was the economy that used to be loud. Turns out the banks have been lending to the wrong crowd, but once again, there was a way out. Indonesia increased their prices but decreased their export. Boom! Oil boom!
And that's a wrap.
Thank you all for watching Indonesian News.
Shout out to Dr. Alves.
And make sure to follow us on Instagram at Indonesian News.
Around the world.
Signing off. Around the world with Indonesian News.
You know, Shivane, whatever tickles your peach.
This looks good.